You may have realized that you need to prep, and you know there's certain things you need to have to get started. If you're wondering what those things are, keep listening as I share the top 40 items you need to be better prepared for any emergency. Hi, it's the Urban Lady Prepper. I help single moms and solo women with practical emergency preparedness. But of course, all are welcome to be prepared for whatever happens next. Thank you for sticking around for the past 50 episodes. It's hard to believe that this is my 6th season, and I'm grateful for all the listeners I've had from the beginning and the new ones that have joined in recently. I appreciate all of you. I've provided a lot of information over the last 9 months, and one thing I've shared is my Essential Prepper Checklist. It is still available on my website, and I'll provide the link in the description. It's always great to have a hard copy on hand, but I thought this episode would be the opportunity to advise the listeners what's in it, and also to provide an explanation for those who've downloaded it and have questions. If you're an old school prepper, you may have taken a peek at my checklist to see if I included anything you didn't have in yours. When I put mine together, I did much the same thing. As I've mentioned in one of my YouTube videos, there is no such thing as the perfect prepper. And with all the information and opinions out there, it's still very easy to forget basic items that you'd be disappointed if you opened up your prepper kit or go bag and not find in there. If you're a new prepper or just want to know the bare minimum to have, my checklist is a great place to start. So here are my 40 items you must have. 1. At least 3 days worth of water, 1 gallon per person per day, extra for pets. Why 3 days of water, especially if you barely drink water anyway? Well, it's the minimum FEMA recommendation. But more is better, trust me. I've always recommended getting water in packets instead of bottles, which saves space and is easier to store and conceal. If you're still not convinced, remember that it's not just for drinking. Consider that the average American uses 80 to 100 gallons of water per day. The average household uses up to 300 gallons, and even more in drier, hotter areas. This use encompasses not just what you drink, but also cooking, rinsing, and hygiene. So to go from 80 gallons a day to 1 is quite the difference. Again, more is better. Store as much water as you can. Number 2, have 3 days worth of food, such as canned goods, meals in pouches, and canned or frozen protein. Why 3 days of food? It's also the minimum FEMA recommendation. More is better. For your pets, have an extra bag of their dry and extra cans of wet if you feed them wet. Why extra pet food if you can give them pretty much what you eat in case of an emergency? Well, having their normal food on hand will help prevent accidents and upset tummies. It's stressful for them, too. Do you really want to have to deal with Fido having a bout of the trots during an emergency? Yeah, I didn't think so. Number 3, a manual can opener, preferably 2. You can find these in the dollar store. Why 2 can openers? Well, you got to open up those cans with something. You want to have one and have an extra in case the other one breaks or is lost. Number 4, have a large cooler. Something that will hold your perishables like dairy, eggs, and lunch meats. Why a cooler? Won't your stuff stay cold in the fridge for a couple of days? Yes, things will stay cold in the refrigerator for up to 4 hours, a full freezer for 48 hours, or 24 hours if it's only half full. That's really not a long time, and if your power is going to be out more than 3 days, you don't want your food to go to waste. Number 5, freezer packs, such as gel packs or blocks. Why ice packs when you can just get ice? Unless you get ice early on, you probably can't, especially if the power is out. If there's no room in the freezer, you can store these packs anywhere. You just have to remember to put them into freeze if you think an outage is coming or is expected. Number 6, paper products. A few rolls of cheap toilet paper, paper towels, compressed towels, some paper plates, and some plastic utensils as well. You may say to yourself, well, I have enough toilet paper and paper towels for at least a week, and I don't save plastic stuff. Remember the great toilet paper run during the pandemic? Don't be without toilet paper and paper towels. For water emergencies, paper plates don't have to be rinsed and can be used as tinder for a fire if needed. You don't know how long an emergency will last, and should you run out, You may not be able to get to the store, or the store might not have any. Compressed towels, the size of an antacid tablet, expand to washcloth size with just a little water. As far as the plastic utensils, if you end up on the go, you want to make sure you have something to eat the food with. Number 7, soap, deodorant, and shampoo. For example, the travel sizes or the complimentary hotel stuff, and baby and body wipes. If you're wondering why, because those trial size thingies are just clutter, remember, if you have to leave your home, having these will help keep you fresh. Cleanliness does improve morale and mood. Collect them in a plastic bag or put them in your go bag to have them readily available. Number 8, a basic toolkit. For example, IKEA had a 17-piece toolkit for $13. Why a toolkit? If you need something fixed, you think you might be able to call the super or a friend or relative. But you never know when you'll need something from it, and depending on the situation, there may not be someone around to help. Having a kit will encourage you to keep the tools together and hopefully become a little more handy. Number 9, a fire extinguisher. This is a cheap buy for around $20. Why a fire extinguisher? That's what the fire department is for, right? You definitely want to have one, especially if you're using candles. Depending on the emergency, the fire department might not be available for a single residential fire. And if you value your home and the things in it, it doesn't hurt to have one and keep it near your kitchen. If you already have one, when was the last time you checked it? Number 10, a first aid kit. Preferably 2 first aid kits. Why? Well, you want to keep one at home, and it's great to have one you can grab for travel or keep in the car. This way, you'll have what you need no matter where you are. Number 11, aspirin, and baby aspirin for children. You may never use aspirin, but it's good to have on hand for reducing fevers, for pain, and for inflammation when a person can't tolerate ibuprofen or acetaminophen. Number 12, acetaminophen, such as Tylenol or Excedrin. Now, there's some folks out there that don't really understand the difference. They're not the same thing. Acetaminophen is good to have on hand as a pain reliever and fever reducer. A special note, if you don't have the one formulated for children, check the recommended kids dosage, as this product should be given to children in limited amounts. Number 13, ibuprofen, also known as NSAIDs, such as Advil or Motrin. Why this two when you have the other two? Well, there are people who can't tolerate either aspirin or acetaminophen. Sometimes it may be too hard on their stomach, and ibuprofen might be a better bet for them. Number 14, over-the-counter allergy medication like Benadryl. It's not just for allergies. It's also for allergic reactions that result in hives. It also works for cold relief, and it can be given to dogs and cats if needed for the same reasons. Now, it's a little trickier for cats, so next time you're at the vet, ask for their dosage recommendation. Number 15, electrolyte-infused beverage like Pedialyte. And why would you want to have that, especially since it's not cheap? Well, it's good for upset tummies, dehydration, and keeping hydrated when ill. It's not just for kids. You can make some of your own with some basic ingredients, and there are some recipes online. Number 16, indigestion or antidiarrheal meds like Pepto or Imodium. And you may say to yourself, why would I need that? You don't normally have tummy issues. But you want to keep at least a small size or one of those packets you can get by the cash register if you don't use it often. When you're under stress, or if you're on the go and eating foods you don't have often, it can give you an upset stomach. So it's good to have it if you can. Number 17, antibiotic ointment like Neosporin. Why, when you don't think you're going to go crazy over a scratch or a paper cut? In an emergency, an infection can become a problem if you can't get to a doctor. So treat all abrasions, no matter how small, just in case. You may get some of that in your first aid kit, but double check. Number 18, rubbing alcohol. The highest percentage you can find, 91% is ideal. Why? Well, you may think you have alcohol, but have you checked it to see if it's expired? It just might be. Also, it can be used to help start a fire in an extreme situation, and you can use it to sanitize surfaces. Number 19, bug repellent like Off. Why? If you have to leave your home for an extended period, especially during the summer, it's good to have. Also, if you're bugging out, you don't know where you'll end up. You may end up in an area completely different, and they may have a mosquito issue or other biting insects. Number 20, petroleum jelly or Vaseline. Now, some folks might think Vaseline is gross, but it's a protectant, a moisturizer, and can help start a fire in an extreme situation. Number 21, adhesive bandages like Band-Aids. Now, you may say, I have these in my first aid kit. It's better to have an extra box and use those first, rather than using up what's in your kits. You don't want to be on the move, need a bandage, open your kit, only to find you've used them up and haven't replaced them. Number 22, N95 face masks. Be sure to get N95s and keep them before the next virus limits availability. Why when there's no real pandemic happening? They're cheaper and easily available now, and it's good to store them when the demand is not as high. Oh, and by the way, a crisis is not the time for grandstanding. If you need to wear a mask, wear it so you can get what you need and get out of there. Save the drama for your mama, okay? Number 23, extra prescription meds. Ask your doctor if they can supply you with an emergency prescription. You may wonder why you would need to do that if you maybe get them automatically, or you figure your doctor might not give you extra. But ask anyway and let them know why, that you don't want to be without it in case of an emergency. If anything happens to the supply chain, you may not get your meds when you expect them, or worse, really need them. I would recommend that, especially with the tariffs implemented, or not, on China, medications are going to go up and they may even skyrocket in price. If you want to have an emergency stash without having to beg your doctor, you can always get a Jace case. My link will provide a 10% discount on one, and that information will be in the description. Yes, they do provide your daily medication now too, not just emergency stuff. I do recommend that you get one because your medication is about to get a lot more expensive. So do check that out now. Don't wait. Number 24, special needs items like your CPAP, an extra EpiPen, batteries and chargers for any needed equipment. Well, if you need any of these things for your health to avoid hospitalization or worse, you should consider getting a battery pack or power bank for backup in case of power loss, and it's great to have extra supplies in case there are logistic issues or just lack of availability. Number 25, meds for your pets. Do you have enough heartworm meds or bug medication? Are the shots up to date? You may not want to carry around a shot record, and you might think that you can just get that anytime you want it. That might not always be the case. Your vet may not always be available, or their office may be closed. If you have to travel to an emergency shelter that accepts pets or need to board in a new place, they'll want a current shot record, and they won't make exceptions or wait for your vet to send it. Keep it with your other important papers that need to be renewed every year. Number 26, flashlights. Have one for each person, or at least just 4 or 5. You can get cheap ones from the dollar store. Now, you may think you have one somewhere, but do you know where it is? And is it working? You might want to check that. Plus, it's a safe source of light. You can hang them from the door hinges so you know where they are, even in the dark. Do you really want to fight over the one flashlight when there's no other light available? Number 27, candles, tea lights, or LED camping lanterns. Even if you have several flashlights, candles are cheap, and while they could be a fire hazard, they're good to have in case your flashlights don't work or you want some light without using up your batteries. LED lanterns provide safer and brighter lighting that can cover a broader area, like a dining room table. Number 28, batteries, AAA, AA, and check to see if any of your larger flashlights need a C or D size. Now, I know batteries are expensive, but there's nothing worse than having a source of light and no batteries to power it. Number 29, lighters. Long-necked lighters are ideal, but having smaller ones are good too. Why lighters? Well, you can use it to light your candles or start a fire if needed. There are now USB chargeable lighters too. Those are cool. I have a couple. Number 30, matches. Any small box of matches will do, and they're super cheap. You can get them at the grocery store. Now, why matches when you have lighters? You might need to light a fire, and if you don't have a lighter or they don't work, it's good to have them as backup. It's best to store them in a metal coffee can or waterproof plastic bag. Number 31, tinder for a fire, dryer lint, or shredded junk mail. Now you may think, why that? And I don't have room to store it. Well, unless you are skilled in starting a fire from scratch, you don't need to have any special techniques for either of those two items to ignite. And plus, they're free. Put it in a pouch and put it in your go bag. Number 32, a power station. A portable one that can charge phones, a laptop, and maybe a small fridge. Why a power station? I realize they're expensive, and you might think maybe the power won't be out that long, but you can get one for around $100. A solar charged one is more expensive, but ideal. It's worth the investment, especially if you have items like a CPAP or meds that need refrigeration, like insulin. You never know how long the power will be out. Why not have a backup? A solar power bank. There are various sizes and brands that will keep phones and laptops charged. Why a portable solar bank if you have a power station? Well, you can get them for around $30, and it's good to have them to ensure you have enough power to go around, especially if your power station is powering a larger item like a small refrigerator or a heater. And it's inexpensive enough to where everyone in the household could have their own to power their individual items. Number 34, a NOAA Crank emergency radio. You can get various sizes starting around $20. Why would you need an emergency radio when you have the news? If you end up with a power outage or you have no internet, this Crank radio will keep you informed of essential updates, including where to get supplies locally, safe passage, or when help is arriving. The Crank provides power instead of batteries. Number 35, extra security for your home, like a security bar for your doors, simple window alarms, and alarm signs. You may not feel you need this if you don't feel unsafe or if you live in a safe area, but understand that your doors and windows are your weakest points. Anything that can deter an intruder or slow them down is ideal. In an emergency, any indication that you're secured may make a criminal choose an easier target. Get a beware of dog sign even if you don't have one. A video camera, even if it's fake. Yes, they sell those. In the event of rioting or martial law, you want to ensure that these weak points aren't easily breached. Number 36, paper maps or printouts of your local area and where you're going. And you may think, well, I have my phone and my car has satellite navigation. And that may be true. But understand that while we've become very dependent on our phones and our car navigation systems, not everyone has a car. Or maybe your car doesn't have one. Or if the internet or satellite is down, you may need to go old school and use a map, especially if you need to bug out to a location you're unfamiliar with. Number 37, self-protection. Weapon or another self-defense item like pepper spray or a bat. Now, you might not want a gun in the house, or you might not want to have a weapon in the house, and you may be afraid that it may be used against you. I understand that self-defense is a scary topic, but you want to be able to protect yourself and any children or creatures in your care. You never know when or if help will arrive, so you need to find a way to defend yourself. It's always good to keep something near you at night that you can get to quickly. Remember, if you decide to fight back, you have to give 100%. Give yourself a chance to survive, not a chance to be a victim. Number 38, an escape plan. Where to go, where to meet up with your kids or other family members in case of an emergency. You might think that you'll know where your kids are if there's a problem, but some disasters happen during the day when you're at work and the kids are in school. Having a plan in case phones don't work, if the power goes out, etc., means you know where everyone will be or will go. What if the school had to evacuate? Do you have a backup plan? If you're unable to pick them up at school due to an emergency, do you have a trusted family member that can go get them? Number 39, miscellaneous items such as playing cards, pen and paper, a favorite comfort item, and your fur baby's favorite toy. You might think that you'd have bigger fish to fry during an emergency, but there's a psychological aspect to that. You'll never know how long you'll be without power. And if you're on the road, you don't know how long you'll be traveling, where you'll end up, and how long you'll be there. Having these items will help you pass the time, reduce stress, and at least give your kids something to focus on while you're navigating the situation. Number 40, a bug-out bag or bags to put many of these things in. And I'm sure you're thinking, are you for real? All that stuff? Yeah, as much of it as you can. If you have to leave in a hurry, you want to be able to grab the bag or bags and go. You can have more than one bag if you have the luxury of time, and if you're either driving or being driven, or if you have additional family members who can have their own bag and help carry some of it. Hopefully, you'll have the chance to stay home and ride it out if you're safe and have not been placed under a mandatory evacuation. But in case you don't, you want to have it available, and it's also a good place to store these things rather than having them all over the house. It'll be the spot where you know where to find your emergency stash. So, those are the 40 items to help you better prepare for an emergency. I believe this information is good to have, and if you downloaded the checklist, you can cross off the things you have or need to get. Having these items will ensure that you can get through a difficult situation where you may be without power and unable to leave your area for an extended period. They will also be helpful should you need to travel away from home. Did I forget anything? Is there anything you feel should have been included in this list? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for listening, and be safe out there. Until next time, this is the Urban Lady Prepper signing off. I'm sure I've given you some things to think about as you go through the upcoming week. Has this episode resonated with you? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to click the link in the podcast description to get your free Essential Prepper checklist. While there, get one of my cool designs on a shirt, hat, mug, and more at my Redbubble store. Or you can always buy me a coffee or get a Jace case for your emergency medical needs. It helps support what I do, and I really appreciate it. Join me on the socials, especially on YouTube, where I'll be uploading videos for my blogs from urbanladyprepper.com. I appreciate your time with me. Stay safe, stay sharp, and be ready.